I was a little disappointed by Raffles, but that being said, the film is still pretty decent. And I say a film, it's just over an hour long. It's not very long at all. So I definitely say give it a chance if this sounds like your kind of film. It was released in 1939, directed by Sam Wood, and written by John Van Druten and Sidney Howard. And the reason I wanted to watch this because Olivia de Havilland is in it. It's on Amazon Prime, it was easy to watch, and I don't regret watching it at all. I just probably wouldn't ever watch it again. David Niven is also in it, and his performance is great. What lets it down is the narrative. I just feel like it could have been longer and given us more. It was kind of underdeveloped a lot in certain parts, but in terms of a character study and being driven by the character of Raffles, played by David Niven, that bit worked very well. So to cut a, well, I was going to say to cut a long story short, but it's quite a short story short, but to make it a bit more simple, this famous cricketer AJ Raffles is doing a lot of different robberies, getting away with it, nobody knows it's him, and he is reacquainted with somebody from his school days and falls in love with her. That's Gwen, played by de Havilland, and he spends the weekend at her parents' house, and there's the temptation of stealing something while he's there, and there's a detective on the scene, and this necklace goes missing. Was it Raffles? Will the culprit be caught, or will they get away with it? There are a lot of things here that you can assume, and you're probably correct. It is predictable for the most part. The ending itself isn't that predictable, but I'm not going to spoil it by saying what happens. But there are so many things wrong with this narrative, and I guess it's not the fact that there are things wrong with the narrative as it is, it's just it's massively underdeveloped. We have no real time to get to know Gwen, or I guess to get to know Gwen and Raffles as a new couple or their relationship. It just kind of happens. It's very quick. The crimes that happen before we get to the bit where it's set in the house, there's a painting stolen, a very odd scene with children on a school trip. It's a very odd choice. Not that it doesn't work as such, it's just unnecessary about children commenting on this lady's slender figure. I'm not really sure what the point was, but nevertheless, that happens, and then there's a scene shortly after it with a kitten. The kitten was absolutely adorable. That kitten's obviously long dead now, which is unfortunate. But that was a very cute scene. But none of those are really expanded upon. They kind of happen, and then they're done. And while they're still trying to find out who this criminal is, and then they kind of believe it's one person doing all of this, it never really turns into anything much. They kind of don't really seem to make a real effort to find him. And then when the detective's trying to establish who stole this necklace, there's no, they're not questioning everybody. They're not trying to find who the culprit is. It's not like a whodunit. As an audience member, you kind of know. But, the detective doesn't inquire with everybody. It's not really a mystery. And not much happens. And they come to conclusions too quickly, or they just give up and stop caring about, for example, the theft of the painting, which was resolved exceptionally quickly. And I can't really say how it was resolved because the culprit was still not caught. But there are just so many things wrong with this narrative. There are so many plot holes. It's underdeveloped. A lot of things just don't work. They don't look into it properly. And it just feels really underdeveloped. And I don't know if it was... Maybe there's a director's cut, I don't know. The one on Amazon Prime is about an hour and 10 minutes. I think it's very short. And it could have been so much more than it was. But it was enjoyable enough. For an hour of entertainment, it was decent. As I said, the acting was good. The camera work didn't really feel too stilted. It didn't really feel old. Which a lot of films, sometimes in the 30s, a lot of films deployed some very... I guess experimental camera work. That's not the case here. It's easy to watch. It's just a bit frustrating that it really wasn't very well developed. And that's a shame. To my knowledge, from what I've read on IMDb, this is a remake of an earlier film. So I may have to check that out. see if I can find that at some point. If you've seen the earlier version, let me know what you think of it. For now, I'm happy to have seen this because I want to watch everything de Havilland's done. But I'm happy enough to recommend it, but I'm not going to watch it again.